Let's go to another game, Dalton, starting off with the Mountain West Championship between UNLV and Boise State in Boise State. Another Friday night game, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. Playoff implications. This is one of two games you can say it's a de facto playoff game, honestly, because both UNLV and Boise State are most likely going to be the two highest ranked group of 5 teams. We'll actually get the playoff rankings later on tonight, so we'll see where they are. But most likely, if you just look at the AP poll and all the other rankings, UNLV and Boise State are going to be probably the two highest ranked group of 5 teams. So essentially, the winner of this game will get the group of 5 playoff spot. If Broncos win, they will probably get a first-round bye, because they'll also likely be ranked above any Big 12 school. Now, it's possible that either Arizona State or Iowa State jumps them after whoever wins that game. But as of right now, Boise State probably would be getting a first-round bye. Back in Week 9, Boise State beat UNLV. You and I went to Eli's house, our producer Eli. We had a great time watching that game. 29-24 was the final score. I was in Las Vegas as well. Now Boise State is hosting this game. Boise State trying to win back-to-back Mountain West championships. Actually beat UNLV in the Mountain West title game again last year. The Rebels, though, have not outright won a conference title since their Big West championship back in 1994. So, really, UNLV is looking for their first conference title outright in 30 years, whereas Boise State's going for back-to-back right now. But you have the Boise State offense. What are you looking at for?
Yeah, this is going to be a fantastic football game, and it's sorry to Eli's slim Heisman chances for Ashton Jeanty here, but I actually think I'm curious to see if Boise State is going to change things up, especially on first down. You know what worked, what was most effective in this first matchup was actually Maddox Madsen in play action, okay? And in that game, completed 9 of 12 for 125 yards and had an 87.3 passing grade in play action. Obviously, look, UNLV's defense, they're really fast and they're really aggressive. They got a lot of great athletes, especially on the back end, guys like Jalen Catalon back there, right? They know we can't let Ashton Jeanty go for 250, 300, do something crazy. Now, they gave up, 128, I believe it was, in the first game to Jeanty. That's a pretty solid job. If you make him ordinary, you did your job against Ashton Jeanty. And, he had a touchdown, and Boise won the game, and they finished the drive with a long drive at the end. But I think for me with Boise State, I've been kind of frustrated at times watching them, especially on first down, because it's just constantly – it's Ashton, and whatever happens on first down. And it feels like between all the carries he's getting, because I think his last 5 or 6 games he's averaged something close to 32 carries a game, and it can be predictable. Now, their first 6 games before that UNLV game, Ashton Jeanty averaged 11.7 yards per carry on first down. It wasn't going to be sustained like that the rest of the way. In that game, they held him to 4.6 yards per carry on first down, which is normal. I think a Boise State team like this that throws on first down at the 11th lowest rate in the nation, I think mix it up a little bit on early downs. Just enough. I'm not saying you're not going to ride Ashton Jeanty. And when you have a lead in the fourth quarter, you are going to ride him to the promised land. We know this. But I think especially in the early parts of the game, mix it up. Get these linebackers to step up. Get the safeties to step up and throw the ball over their heads on play action on first down. I think this is a game, and I'm gonna get to doing this with a couple of these games here, where if there's a week to throw a curveball, it's this week. And it'll make Jeanty more effective because teams will respect your passing game on first down as you get later into the game, and then you really start getting them moving back and forth. They get on their heels. So I think for me, that's what I'm looking for is Boise State, one, with the play-action game and how often they go to it, and what does Dirk Cutter do on first down to give himself more advantageous situations against a really good UNLV defense.
Yeah, and my matchup to watch the other side of the ball is really another guy running the football, but it's Malik Williams, the quarterback for UNLV. Is really, can Boise State contain him on the ground? So Malik Williams, really as a passer, wasn't very good at all in the loss to Boise State back in October. He had a 49.1 passing grade in that loss. That was his worst of the season by 13 points. He completed just about 55% of his passes with 2 big-time throws and 2 turnover-worthy plays. But he was far more dangerous as a runner. He ran for 143 yards and a touchdown on only 14 attempts. Dalton, he had 15 more rushing yards than Ashton Jeanty on 19 fewer attempts than Ashton Jeanty in that game. 114 of his 143 yards came after contact as he broke 9 tackles along the way. It was easily his best rushing performance of the season, and really kept UNLV in the game because they did not have much of a passing game to rely on. Boise State's got a really good secondary. Right now, they're top 40 in the nation in coverage grade this year, but it's had an issue, defending the run with the 77th best run defense grade and 132nd in terms of tackling grade this year. And mobile quarterbacks, in particular, have been very successful against the Broncos. 5 different quarterbacks this year have at least had 50 rushing yards or more in a game this year. And obviously, Malik Williams had almost 150 against Boise State. So if they contain him on the ground and force him to win as a drop-back passer, I think the Broncos have a really good chance at clinching their second-straight Mountain West title and a playoff spot. But if they allow him to be very dangerous on the ground again, I don't think he'll be as bad as a passer once again. Then all of a sudden UNLV might be able to pull it off.
Yeah, and I think the 2 other things stick out to me for UNLV's offense in this game. One, Jaden Thomas only had 7 carries in that game, and his workload has really been on the upswing ever since that game, and they've really ridden a two-headed monster between Thomas and Williams in the run game. And Boise State, I mentioned this in our first preview of this game, the last 2 times now that they've played UNLV, they've done a really nice job containing Ricky White and not letting him take the game over on the outside. So you're talking about 3 legitimate stars for the Rebels, and last time they played, Boise did a really good job with 2 of them. If they can continue to do that, you're right. And this is, on top of Boise State's pass rush, they're up there in the leaderboards for sacks as well. So I think there's a lot of dynamics in this UNLV offense that didn't shine in the first game that they're going to need to in this game. I think those 3 guys, Williams, Thomas, and Ricky White, they have to be the stars of the show here if they're going to go on the road now and pull off an upset.
Absolutely. So, Dawn, ultimately, who will win the Mountain West Championship and most likely clinch a spot in the college football playoff?
This is a hard one because I think this is as good a football game as any of these other ones, even the Power 4 ones, right? And if you remember back in the preseason when we did our conference predictions, I had UNLV over Boise State in this game. And it still takes a lot of thinking 3 months later when you go through and you're like, oh boy, am I actually going to be right about this, right? But you know what? I'm sticking with it. Okay. I'm going to take Jaden Thomas and Malik Williams and Ricky White and a really good defense. I think there are times this year where I've watched UNLV and I go, you know what? I think they might be just a more well-rounded football team than Boise, and it's not going to be easy on the blue turf having to hold Ashton Ginty to some normal number of rushing yards again. But I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna take UNLV 27-24. I think they get the playoff spot. It's going to be a fantastic football game, and maybe I'll be wrong on this. And I couldn't go against Ashton Ginty the first time. Something about it because we flipped this the first time where I picked Boise and you took UNLV at home, and I was like, I can't pick against Ashton yet. But there's times in the few weeks since then where I've been a little concerned with Boise State's offensive line too.
Yeah.
And I don't think, to me, when I watch them, especially again with the play calling sometimes as predictable as it is, I don't always love Boise State's run blocking, especially on early downs. So I'm going to take UNLV. I think they're a little bit more well-rounded, and I think they're going to make Maddox Madsen beat them. If he can't do it again, then UNLV will win the game.
There's an argument that UNLV is more well-rounded, but Boise State has Ashton Ginty, and I got Boise State winning this one 31-28. So I also have it being a 3-point game. It'll be a hell of a game. I think it's going to be a great game on Friday night. But I think one last time, Ashton Ginty will make a case to Heisman voters. Now, most Heisman voters will get their votes in before this game, most likely, but the deadline, I believe, is Monday, or at least Sunday. So you have time to watch these games if you're a Heisman voter, and I think that a lot of them will, and I think Spencer Danielson, he'll ride Ashton Ginty once again, and he's Superman.
I'll let that part be what it is, but he had 128 in the first game, and Boise found a way to win because Madsen played really well. I thought it was arguably his best game of the season. What's the number it's going to take in this one for Ginty?
I think 150.
You think 150 and they'll have enough balance
I
to
think
get
150. I think Madsen will do enough outside of that. So I think 150. I think, dude, 150 for Ashton Ginty is like 75 for that running back.
Because to me, I think that's what it comes down to is how much do you believe in Madsen to do it again? And he's done it in several spots this year. He's come through in the clutch. He's not the most prolific passer. We know this. He's not the toolsiest guy. They don't have a whole lot of deep shots in their offense. But you have to believe that Madsen can beat them again. And he did do it the first time. He's proven it once.
And I think, he has been pretty impressive off play action this year. I really want them, like you made a great point, they got to use play action more on early downs.
First downs.
Like when everyone knows, hey, they're going to give you Ashton Ginty, don't do it. Then you throw play action in there, and I think that would be a great way for them to attack this game plan this week. But I think Boise State will win this game in a close one, beat the Rebels in back-to-back years in the Mountain West title game, and Boise State clinches a playoff spot and most likely a first-round bye in the college football playoff as well. So I got Boise State winning that one. You have UNLV winning. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.